3, 2, 1.
Over there.
You look right there.
Over there.
Over there. That's the camera right there. And hello, welcome. We are live. I am joined today by my girlfriend Sarah, who recently went on the hike with me to Blackwell Lake. That was super fun, honey.
Yeah.
Wasn't it fun?
It was fun.
Were you surprised that you had so much fun even though it was the winter time?
No, we've snowshoed before.
Yes, but we've never camped in the snow.
I'm pretty sure we have.
We have? When?
Yeah.
When have we backpacked up to
It wasn't a
to go
backpacking
camp?
trip. It was off of Anderson Ranch Dam.
That's right. But it wasn't in that kind of deep snow.
Snow was pretty deep.
Yes, yes. Okay, so you had no idea where we actually were, right? In McCall? Like, you didn't know the trail, did you?
No, I was just following you guys.
Yeah, yeah. You were setting a blistering pace, by the way. So I found the trail on Google Earth that we can look at right here, and I'll show you, and we'll go through it real quick with everyone. Here is our map of McCall. I wish I could get rid of this. Why is this still up here? All right, so here is Blackwell Lake, right up here. Here is McCall, Idaho. And this was a great trip that was open in the wintertime for you to snowshoe. Obviously, you can do it in the summer. It seems like it'd be a really cool hike, really cool views up there on the ridge, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Sarah, you were so fast, and you just recently broke your leg, your tibia. Well, not recently, last year. That was the first hike, right? Backpacking trip since you broke your leg?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the slowest one.
You were not. You were like the fastest one. And we joined our friends Jen and Tucker, if they're watching. Hi, Jen and Tucker.
Oh, hi, Jen and Tucker.
All right, so here's the trailhead. Right here. This is where we took off from. And when you're snowshoeing, yes, this is a road. And in the summer, I believe you can drive it. But when you're snowshoeing, this is where you actually start. This is all covered in just snow. And this is pretty level. And it's a pretty wide trail. And we followed this for that first part, if you remember. Mm-hmm. Really, really simple snowshoe through here. I even remember this little grove of trees right here in the video. But you keep following this little roadway that kind of snakes up this way. Let's pull up the video real quick and I'll show you what that looks like. Right now I'm saying screw snowshoes because they were hard. But yeah, you can see here it's just kind of a wide trail that we're going up. Really easy, really flat. And the cool thing about this trail, here it is. I think that's that little grove of trees that I just pulled up on Google Earth. But this is that wide trail, and this was all like created by snowmobiles. And I think if we're gonna give anyone a tip, if you're snowshoe backpacking, snowmobiles are your friend, right, Sarah? Because later on, we tried to go off trail, and that proved, like, how far did we get?
Not that far.
Like 100 yards or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so heading back, if you can stick to snowmobile trails, that's the way to go. Sometimes they took us a little bit off course, but it was always better to stay with the snowmobile tracks. And then Jen and Tucker left earlier the next morning. I haven't talked to them about this yet, but we saw them like, they tried to take a shortcut back, and I'm wondering if they got into a little bit of trouble, Jen, Tucker. And we just stuck to the snowmobile trail on the way back that we came in, and I found that to be so much easier. In a recent hike I did in the Bitterroots, I did not stick to the trail back, and I got into trouble. So if you have the luxury of having a snowmobile pave the way, stick to your snowmobile tracks. That'll be much better. And the snowshoeing is pretty easy here. It was a pretty warm day. And as we started to get into this stuff, Sarah, this is kind of where we got a little bit more off trail, and the really wet snow made it super difficult, huh?
Was this where it was really steep?
Yeah.
Where I was like
steep.
sliding back?
Yeah, it was like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And these snowshoes that you're wearing, I gave these to you. So the snowshoes that you have where your snowshoes actually have weight ratings on them that you can get. And so if you have your normal snowshoes like Sarah did, I think they were weighted to like 120, and with her pack on, like obviously that's not, you're super skinny, honey, but like that you're not, with your backpack on, you still weigh over 120. So I gave her an old pair of my snowshoes that were rated more like 200 something. They seem to work okay for you.
They were fine.
They were fine, yeah, and they were big. They were big with these thick metal bars, and I bought myself new snowshoes because I've been doing stuff, getting more and more into it. Oh, sorry, they're tied together. Let me give you one. These are the MSR Lightning Ascents that I have, and these are like way more expensive than the ones that you had. But I don't hike with poles because I'm usually holding my camera. This has this really cool little thing that saved me on this kind of stuff, this mushy stuff. Like this bar goes up and then your heel rests on that, so you don't have to, I don't know, you're hiking, it feels more even in terms of your footstep. And then unlike yours, these have like the metal teeth all around them. They actually tore into my backpack on my most recent trip. But yours were just that bar. So a little bit different in the snowshoes. Sarah's worked really, I felt like yours worked better when we were on level ground, and mine worked better when we were climbing uphill. But yeah, when you pick your snowshoes. Sarah's butt. Yeah, this was up on the ridge here when we finally made it up here with a beautiful view. That's Little Payette Lake looking back down towards McCall. And so up on this ridge, let's go back to Google Earth. Bam. So at some point, you follow this road here, and that's a really, really easy part. And we made this, you have to find this little detour. It's really, and this is only in the, well, I don't know if it's only in the wintertime. You could probably drive almost all the way up to Blackwell Lake. I'm guessing that when you do Blackwell Lake in the summertime, you drive this road all the way up here to like probably right around here. It looks like you can go farther and then hike back that way. So it's probably a way, I mean, of course it's a way easier hike in the summer. But if you're doing it in the winter, you gotta peel off. And you can peel off in the summer too. This is a different route if you wanna make it like harder on yourself. You could park right here in this little parking spot. Ba-bam! You didn't notice that parking spot because there was snow all over it, right?
I definitely didn't see that.
And this is where we turned right here and started the difficult snowshoe.
Is that where we saw that bunny?
Did you see? I saw a ton of bunnies.
I only saw one.
You only saw one?
Yeah.
Okay. There were lots of bunnies.
No, only saw the one little white one.
Oh, gotta be looking up. But then it's like this really difficult snowshoe up, and I'm guessing in the summer it's a hike up. This is that ridge line that we were following where it looked like Sarah was getting vertical, and it takes you all the way up here. Yeah, we did some damage. All the way up here to this ridge, and then when you're on this ridge, you can see right here, that's when you get those, whoops, these killer views looking back towards like McCall and stuff, because you're up on that ridge line. So right here, and you can see all the lakes and stuff like that. So after you turn off and you head up here, this is the way we went. And then once we found that ridge line, this is it right here, we were feeling pretty tired. And Jen was having some issues with her feet. And I think it's important to address the foot situation, because it seems like everyone but me had a little bit of foot issues, right?
You mean like boot issues?
Boot issues, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, by the time we were done, you were wringing out your socks on the way down and stuff like that. And we were pretty prepared for you. I thought your boots might fail, but I had you bring a few extra socks. We brought foot warmers, which are super important and super helpful in the wintertime. But yeah, you would have to upgrade your boot situation if you want to do more than like 36 hours because your feet were wet.
Yeah, well, when I bought those boots, they were waterproof, but I think since then they've gotten some rips and tears. But they were fine when we went snowshoeing last time, but the snow wasn't this deep. So I was kicking up snow from the back of my snowshoe, like up into the top of my boot, and then so that was melting down and making my feet wet.
Yeah.
So those dorky gaiters that you wear, I think I realized the value of those now.
Sarah's talking about my mountaineering gaiters, which I have a link in the in the description of this video is my snowshoe setup. Here's what I will say: I only used one pair of socks, and I was the one without foot trouble. I think that Jen was the worst for sure. Sarah was able to manage because we had a lot of stuff, and then Tucker, he cross-country skied, so his feet didn't get wet, but I don't know if you wear ski boots, they're not comfortable, so his feet were hurting. So yeah, so what I do is I wear just your traditional ski or snowboard socks, winter socks, and then I wear pack boots. Now listen, like Sarah's boots that say they're waterproof and Jen's boots that said they're waterproof, not all boots are waterproof, all right? Go to Cabela's or a hunting store and get some pack boots, all right? Pack boots or like those mudders. Those are waterproof, okay? And then those are your boots. You have your socks. And then the gaiters, easy Sarah. And then the gaiters like wrap around them, you know, and stop stuff from getting into the boot. I have a much better video on this. It's in the description. And it hasn't failed me. So if you want to put some miles in snowshoeing and keep your feet warm, which is a huge part of enjoying it, make sure your boot situation is on point. So we hiked all the way up to this ridge. We got kind of a late start, didn't we? Like 11:30, and we were super tired because it was like just mushy snow. That's the other thing. When it's mushy snow, it's just harder. Jen and Tucker wanted to get a like fast start in the morning so that the snow was harder. And yeah, it's much easier in the morning. We hiked up to view the lake in the morning, and we had a pretty steep climb. It was way easier when the snow was like actually solid. So solid packed snow, much easier. It sucks to get up in the morning and actually do it, but if you can, you'll go quicker. All right, so back to the map here. We made it up along this ridge to about here, right here. And we looked out, and it was like, oof, this was a really steep drop. We came down, because this was really steep, we came down and around this way, the side of this mountain, into this little valley. And here, we had we kind of took an assessment of the situation. We had it mapped out, so here's the path, right? And remember, this is where we started to try to go across, and it was like thick, deep snow.
And there weren't very many snowmobile tracks
There were no
over there.
There were no snowmobile tracks over here. There were snowmobile tracks straight up this thing. And we were like, okay, Tucker had it mapped out totally correctly that the trail goes this way, which it does. You can actually see it. In the summertime, this is where you would go. It would take you all the way over and around right to here, the front of the lake. But the snowmobile tracks went this way. So we kind of like started to go into waist deep snow this way. We're already having some boot failure. It's not working out. We had the advantage of doing a little scout recon because I had the drone, and we were able to see that Blackwell Lake was pretty far away still for the snowshoe.
I think we'd already been going like 5 hours, right? It was like 5 hours already.
Yeah, we've been going a while. It was hard going. Snowshoeing's harder than hiking. And yeah, I mean, you could just see how far we had gone. This is where we were. This is where we started. This is where we were. Sun was going down. Blackwell looked far. We had water right here in this little, you can even see it on Google Earth, just kind of right down in there. So this is where we decided to make camp for the night. Now, that water was deep in there, Sarah, and one of the things that Tucker had was he had a little pump water filter that had like a big long hose attached to it so that he could actually get down into the well. I haven't bought one of those yet, but that was a tip that I definitely picked up on this trip. Like, oh yeah, water, if it's in deep snow, might be under the snow. So that kind of water filter in the wintertime, you might want to think about. The gravity filter hasn't been working well for me in the winter. I actually started taking the Sawyer filter, and that's been working super well. But we were able to get water because Tucker had it all set up there at the campsite. Let's go back to the video. All right, here we are on the ridge. Sarah's setting a blistering pace. Look at her. That away, honey. And yep, there's the ridge line and everything. This is our scout mission, these shots where I was looking for the lake. And yeah, the shovel is super helpful. Definitely take a shovel. They're super light. Yeah, you can see how this is the snow that I was talking about. This is where the trail kind of bends off to the side there. And you could just see, like, there's no trail. We were just deep. I'm actually sitting. Tucker's trying to find a way. But it would actually be up and up around here and over there if we actually followed the quote-unquote trail. Snow stakes. Snow stakes. So turn your snow stakes sideways when you do this. I made the mistake of putting it straight down. You know, put it sideways, it'll be easier to find, and it'll actually like give your tent even more stability. So put your snow stakes sideways. And we're coming to my favorite part, Sarah making fire with flint. Sarah, every time we go camping, makes fire with flint so that she can keep her skills sharp. And here she is doing it in the wintertime. With, how'd you like that flint?
It worked well.
The Mad Swede? Where'd you get that?
The internet.
Just Amazon? And it was just Mad Swede?
I don't know. Is that what it said on it?
I think it said that on it, yeah. Must have been cheap if you don't know. You
I don't know. They had good reviews.
What'd you think of the shrimp curry you got? That was a new recipe from Mom's Bush Kitchen. Was it good?
Yeah. It was good for dehydrated camping food.
Yeah. Here's the lake. This is where we'll be in the morning. This little spot right here. And this is the lake. You can see the snowmobile track over here. This is the beginning of the hike where Tucker peeled off. And this was our camp spot. We actually got a fire going. It was really cool to see the fire like die down like that in the little fire pit. That was really cool. Like we had a real camp with a real fire.
Yeah, I was concerned it was just going to instantly melt through the snow, but well, when I set it up, I had put some sticks like across sideways and then the other way long ways and built it on top of that, and then it just kind of actually slowly melted.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was like a huge pit.
Little pit, yeah, that we just dug into. You can see Tucker did it the right way here. He's showing me how to do the stakes. So we just trampled down the area, set out the tent, and then he had the sideways stakes there. See, and you just clamp it down with your boot, bam, and then put some snow on it. I had not been doing that. So it was making fire.
It was also interesting collecting firewood.
Why?
Because it's all snow. It's not like you can just grab stuff off the ground. So luckily Tucker had that mini saw because we didn't have an axe or a saw. And
Right.
I was just collecting dried branches off dead trees.
Yeah. I mean, you thought the saw, Brett takes the saw. I'm just always like,
Yeah, I would take a saw.
You would take a saw?
I would always take the saw.
You always want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is white gas. This was cool. Now, I do think like this is my cheap knockoff Jetboil that I've been testing that I'll have a review on. So we did the 2 Jetboils, and then Tucker did this. and this is the white gas, and this is like some real mountaineering when you're high up in the mountains and stuff. I've been like, when I'm higher up, like when I did the sawtooth earlier this year, the jet boil doesn't work as well. Now we were only at like 6,500 feet and it was pretty warm, so the jet boils were doing the trick, but this was a cool setup that Tucker had going that he just showed me. Now in the morning, when it was time for coffee, we left our jet boils right by the tent, and then we didn't get out to make coffee. We had coffee straight out of the sleeping bag, and to make their coffee, they had to get out of their tent and light this. That would be the one knock I have on this, and the one thing why I would take the jet boil if I had the preference. But really cool thing to see. That's what's cool about going with people that you've never met before. Some Mom's Bush Kitchen recipes. Sarah with her shrimp curry. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, I took the gravity filter. Did I show that? Yeah, that was probably in here. Let's scrub through. So Jen and Tucker had the 2-person MSR. I don't know what tent that is. The MSR. I'm drawing a blank on my tent. Anyways, MSR Access 3, I believe, is my tent. They had the MSR Access 2. So we have the bigger space, and look at all this space we had. We were actually able to get in there and like play cribbage. Sarah loves cribbage. She doesn't love cribbage.
Because I never win.
Join everyone that's everyone that plays me. So we were able to play cribbage, and then I was able to set up my tripod in between us. And we actually were like, we downloaded some Netflix, and I put my phone on the tripod. So we had a little like cribbage and movie night in our tent in the freezing cold in the backcountry of McCall. And we were super comfy, weren't we?
Yeah, well, you downloaded that before we left. But interestingly enough, we pretty much had self-service the whole time. Like, I was calling my son from the tent.
Oh, yeah, we did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so there you go. Self-service at Blackwell Lake. If you're worried about it, we took the Garmin, but we didn't need it.
Nope.
Sarah's also rocking a 15-degree bag here, and she didn't have a liner. So she went Sea to Summit, Etherlight Extreme, 15-degree bag, and then she had the down blanket, and you were pretty cozy, weren't you?
Yeah, I was fine.
Yeah, and I had the 0 degree. So you don't always need, I think in my, I did a how to set up your sleep situation video earlier this year. And I said, if you have a really good 15-degree sleeping bag and you have a really good pad, you could probably get away with this winter stuff. And I think that it proved it here. That was a good 15-degree bag, and Sarah was comfy. Also, having 2 people really helps keep the tent warm. That's way better with 2 people.
You think it made a difference?
Yeah. I was just out there by myself. It made a huge difference. I had to bust out an emergency blanket on my most recent trip. See, this is bedside coffee. And then in the morning, we went up this way, and obviously we're following the snowmobile tracks as we go up this time. So it's like, okay, we're not going to go around. There's Sarah towards the end of the trip. You can see her boot situation kind of failing. But yeah, snowmobile tracks up. Always follow snowmobile tracks. And let's go back to Google.
Okay, because if it took us 5 hours to get to that campsite, like how long do you think it would have taken a snowmobile?
Nothing. That's a day trip for a snowmobile.
You mean like 2 hours?
It's like an out and back, and I'm back for lunch.
So like what, like an hour to get there?
Nah, it'd probably take an hour to get there and an hour back. It depends on like who the snowmobiler is. You would have to be pretty experienced, but it was pretty easy, especially with those tracks. So yeah, that's us climbing this ridgeline here to the lookout, and the snowmobile continued to go. Like it went down kind of this way and wrapped around this way. The lake was frozen. We were done for the day. We just made it to the lookout. It was like, hell, we just want to see this lake. I mean, we're so close. I think we can get there. Let's take a look. It would have been cool to get there, and you can definitely get there in the winter time. Just maybe make it some extra days, or I think if we started earlier and just knew to stick to the snowmobile track and trusted it, we would have got there, right? Like we stopped and we were definitely checking where we were a lot and making sure that the snowmobile tracks weren't taking us like in a wrong direction. And then we would see the snowmobile track go off like where we didn't have it mapped, and we were like, I don't know if we trust that. Should we try this way? So there was a lot of like stopping and planning and boot failure. So I think if we had a longer day and we trusted the snowmobile track, if I was able to watch a video like this before, we would have made it there. But we just made it to the lookout, and it was a beautiful lookout.
Well, there was that one spot where I thought that there had been an avalanche. Did you get that in here?
I didn't.
But I was a little bit concerned when we were, for a second when we were at the campsite, I was like, well, how likely would an avalanche be? But
Not likely.
Those hills right there weren't very high, and there was trees, so I don't think that.
Not likely. Yeah.
But over here, on this side over here, on that steep ridge,
Yeah.
it looked like there was one. Right there.
Right there?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could be wrong.
You could be, but you could be right. Right there. Oh, yeah, I remember right there. Yeah, it's got a little, like, almost serac right there forming. Yeah. I mean, don't camp under something like that. Definitely don't. But I think if you're I don't think we needed avalanche training to do this adventure is what I would say. And this is beautiful Blackwell Lake. And oh my gosh, if we could have ice fished. I wonder where we would have stayed. Probably right here is where we would have popped out into. I think the snowmobile tracks kind of went along this ridgeline here and around this ridgeline and down into here. So we probably would have stayed here, whereas the normal trail takes you and would drop you off over here.
Well, you said I couldn't bring my fishing pole.
Well, I knew we weren't going to break through the ice. Did I break? Oh, I brought the Tenkara rod on that one.
No, you didn't.
On that
you
one,
said
I
you
think
didn't.
I did.
No, you said you didn't.
I think I did.
No.
This is my avalanche shovel, by the way. This is I got it from REI. Link to it in the description. I find it really useful too. The hoe feature. And on my most recent trip, I've found it useful. So definitely a good snow shovel and some good snowshoes if you're going to do this. I highly recommend. And a good boot system. Does anyone have any questions? Sarah and I are getting Rocky Mountain, where are we going? Smoky Mountain Pizza? Smoky Mountain Pizza after this. Hey, Tucker. Tucker was watching this.
Oh, hi, Tucker.
And we have no questions because barely anyone's watching it. See, I told you, honey, super easy. No one watches. All right, so we're going to get out of here. That is how to hike Blackwell Lake. I recently just did a big solo trip in the Bitterroots with some crazy weather that's going to be coming out this Monday. And then we'll talk about that, and I'll tell you what I learned on that trip in combination with this one. And then hopefully spring comes soon, but it's been snowing here in Boise for some reason. It's April, and it's snowing in the valley. I don't even understand. It snowed all day today. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.